Good morning, children. Now we'll continue with Angel in Disguise. It is on page 83. I think I've already done a little bit of this. I'll do it again. Page 83, middle of that page. After washing from his hands and face the dust and the soil of work, he had been working in the shop. He's a wheelwright. He repairs wheels. That is Joe. Joe left the kitchen and went to the little bedroom. A pair of large bright eyes looked up at him from the snowy bed. So now there is a difference. She's sleeping on a clean sheet. This is Maggie. She's looking up at him with large bright eyes. She's happy. The word bright tells you that she is happy. Looked up at him from the snowy bed. Notice the words used by the poet to emphasize that it is a clean white sheet. Looked at him tenderly, gratefully, pleadingly. Those three words are important. Maggie looked at Joe tenderly with lot of love and affection, gratefully, thankfully, pleadingly in a requesting manner, begging something, earnest manner. How his heart swelled in his bosom. He is very happy. How his heart swelled in his bosom. That shows his great joy. Remember, they are childless, and Maggie comes into their life like an angel in disguise. With what a quicker motion came the heartbeats. Again, expressing the joy, the happiness which Joe felt when he looked at Maggie, even though she is a crippled, bedridden child. Joe sat down and now for the first time examining the thin frame occurs to her physical features, carefully under the lamplight, saw that it was an attractive face. It was a pretty face. Nobody bothered to look at the attractiveness of the face because the first thing they noticed was that she was crippled and full of childish sweetness, which suffering had now not been able to obliterate, remove, wipe away. The innocence, the childishness in that face was still there in spite of all the suffering that Maggie faced in life. Obliterate, remove or wipe away. Now this conversation, question is asked by Joe and the reply is given to Maggie. It's very easy. Your name is Maggie, he said as he sat down and took her soft little hand in his. Yes, sir. Her voice struck a chord that quivered in a low strain of music. Again, the joy which he felt when Maggie spoke to him. Have you been sick long? Yes, sir. What a sweet patience was in her tone. Patience, gentleness, childishness, sweetness. These are the characteristics which are found in Maggie. Has the doctor been to see you? He used to come. Answer is by Maggie. But not lately. No, sir. Have you any pain? Sometimes, but not now. When had you pain? This morning my side ached and my back hurt when you carried me. It hurts you to be lifted or moved about? Yes, sir. Your side doesn't ache now. Ache is pain. So Joe is asking her, she may not be feeling any pain now. No, sir. Does it ache a great deal? Have you a lot of pain? Yes, sir, but it hasn't ached any since I have been on the soft bed. So the thankfulness, she's so grateful. Since she had been lying on that bed, there was no pain at all in her body. The soft bed feels good? Joe is asking. Oh yes, sir, so good. What a satisfaction mingled with gratitude was in her voice. Satisfied. She's so happy. She doesn't want anything more. Gratitude, very thankful, very grateful. That is seen on the expression in her face as well as in the voice, in the way she speaks. She's so much thankful to Joe and his wife Jane. Supper is ready, said Mrs. Thompson, looking into the room a little while afterwards. Joey glanced from his wife's face to that of Maggie. She understood him and answered. That is, by the look on the face, he is asking whether Maggie should not be given food. And Mrs. Thompson replied, she can wait until we are done. Maggie can wait until we have eaten our food. Then I will bring her something to eat. There was an effort at indifference on the part of Mrs. Thompson. She pretended, she tried her best to show that she was not much bothered about Maggie. But actually, in her heart, there is a change. She now began to look at Maggie in a different way. She began to feel some love and kindness towards Maggie. But her husband had seen her through the window. Though she pretended to be indifferent, Joey had seen his wife and Maggie talking to each other through the window and understood that the coldness was assumed. The coldness, the lack, the reserved nature was pretended. Joey waited after sitting down to the table for his wife to introduce the subject uppermost in both of their thoughts. But she kept silent on the theme. That is, in the beginning when Maggie was brought in, she insisted that Maggie should be taken at once to the poorhouse, and because of Joey pleaded with her, she allowed Maggie to remain there, and she said at least one night only Maggie should remain there. But now, Mrs. Thompson does not want Maggie to leave the house. But she kept silent on the theme for many minutes, that is, sending Maggie to the poorhouse. And he maintained a like reserve. Both of them kept silent on the topic of Maggie going to the poorhouse. At last she said abruptly, she's asking, what are you going to do with that child? She's pretending, because in the beginning she had been very indifferent, very rude to Maggie. Now she has changed, but she's reluctant to show that change. I thought you understood me that she was going to the poorhouse, replied Joe, as if surprised at her question, pretending to be surprised. Mrs. Thompson looked rather strangely at her husband. Her sonic movements, for some very important, short time, but very important time, she looked at Joey and then dropped her eyes. The subject was not again referred to during the meal. Subject is Maggie to be taken to the poorhouse. None of them spoke about it, none of them referred to it. At its close, at the end of the supper, at its close, Mrs. Thompson toasted a slice of bread, softened it with milk and butter, adding to this a cup of tea. She took them in to Maggie and held the small waiter, that is a tray on which she had placed them, while the hungry child ate with every sign of pleasure. The food which is given to her was something very delicious, tasty, because maybe at her home she had not eaten such kind of good food. Is it good? Asked Mrs. Thompson, seeing with what keen relish the food was taken. The Maggie was eating the food, enjoying the food, and also thankful that it was given to her. The child paused with a cup in her hand and answered with a look of gratitude. From the look on her face, she is showing so much of gratitude, so much of thankfulness, that awoke to new life old human feelings, which had been slumbering in her heart for half a score of years. So, for half a score of years, she was not feeling any kindness or tenderness, because being childless, she did not have any meaning in her life. Her life seemed to be hopeless, full of despair. And now that Maggie had come in, there is a new hope, there is a new meaning in the life of Jane Thompson. We'll keep her here a day or two longer. She is so weak and helpless, said Mrs. Joey Thompson. She is unwilling to admit that she wanted Maggie to stay there forever, because in the beginning she had so adamantly refused to take Maggie. So she is saying, we'll keep her here a day or two longer, said Mrs. Joey Thompson, in answer to her husband's remark at breakfast time on the next morning that he must step down and see the guardians of the poor about Maggie. Guardians of the poor, the authorities, the officials who are in charge of the poorhouse. So he is saying he will go and see them. She'll be so much in your way, said Joey. She'll be such a disturbance to you if she's remaining here. I shan't mind that for a day or two, poor thing. So notice the change in Jane's heart. He'll keep her here for a day or two. Then the next paragraph. Joe did not see the guardians of the poor on that day, on the next day, nor the day following. In fact, he never saw them at all on Maggie's account. For in less than a week, Mrs. Joy Thompson would as soon leave thought of taking up her own abode in the farmhouse as sending Maggie there. It was Mrs. Jane Thompson who wanted Maggie to remain there. So taking Maggie to the poorhouse, now for Jane Thompson was taking herself, going to the poorhouse by herself and remaining there. She had become so much fond of Maggie, so much attached to Maggie. What light and blessing did that sick and helpless child bring to the home of Joy Thompson? Light symbolizes joy, happiness, and blessing did that sick and helpless child bring to the home of Joy Thompson. The poor wheelwright. It had been dark and cold and miserable there for such a long time. Both Jane and Joy, both of them were feeling very sad, very miserable, finding no meaning in life because they were childless. And now Maggie had come like an angel to give them light, to give them, they had something to look forward to. They found meaning in life. Just because his wife had nothing to love and care. For out of herself, she did not have her own child. She did not have a child to love and care for. That is why she had become angry and bitter. Now there is a change in her heart because of Maggie. Just because his wife had nothing to love and care for out of herself. Out of herself means her own child. And so become sore, bitter, angry, irritable, ill-tempered, angry and bitter, and self-afflicting in the desolation of her woman's nature. Her life was very painful, very difficult, because there was no one to love, no one to care for. Of course, she had Joy, but she wanted a child and they were childless. Now the sweetness of that sick child looking ever to her in love, patience and gratitude was as honey to her soul. Maggie brought so much of comfort, so much of meaning, so much of love and affection, so much of light into this dark, miserable life of Joy and Jane. So that is why she is referred to as an angel in disguise. Now the sweetness of that sick child looking ever to her in love, patience and gratitude was as honey to her soul. Honey is something sweet. So Maggie brought sweetness and meaning and love and joy into their life. And she carried her in her heart as well as in her arms. She cannot move. So not only did she carry Maggie in her arms, but also she loved her. That is why she carried her in her heart as well as in her arms. A precious burden. So Maggie is now become a precious burden for them. Something whom she can love, whom she can find meaning in life. As for Joy Thompson, there was not a man in all the neighborhood who drank daily of a more precious wine of life than he. More happy. Joy is more happy than Jane because Maggie has come into their life and they have something to care for. An angel had come into his house disguised as a sick, helpless and miserable child and filled all its dreary chambers with the sunshine of love. So where there was loneliness, where there was emptiness, where there was no joy at all, Maggie, this sick child, brought love, joy, happiness, meaning and sunshine into their lives. So with that, we finish this lesson.